there's a growing realization that the way to prosperity for all nations is rejecting protectionist legislation and promoting fair and free competition. America's jobs and growth are at stake.
Here's the part that he cut out, though.
I've never forgotten those jobs, and on trade issues, by and large, we've done well. In certain select cases, like the Japanese semiconductors, we've taken steps to stop unfair practices against American products.
I need y'all to do me a favor. Hit that like button, share my videos. Please make sure you subscribe. Make sure your notification buttons are turned on to all. Subscribe to my alternative channel just in case YouTube give me the slip or something. You'll know how to find me. Don't forget to check me out with all the podcasts and follow me on Rumble and the Jungle. All the links are listed below. If you want to donate to my channel, feel free. Those links are below as well.
Doug Ford needs to resign. Not next week, not after another apology tour, today. Because what just happened isn't a simple political blunder. It's a full-blown act of international sabotage paid for by you, the taxpayer. Let's get this straight. Doug Ford thought it was a good idea to spend $75 million of your money to run an ad campaign in the United States using clips of Ronald Reagan to lecture Republican voters about tariffs.
You hear that? So wait, Doug, whomever he is, he's not even the prime minister, but he just dropped $75 million to run an ad to try to influence us. Now, first of all, I'm offended. I'm offended that this man think that we as conservatives are so weak-minded. Yeah, we're so flimsy in our understanding and our loyalty to our country and our patriotism that a mere ad using one of our great presidents would just, I guess, full-blown hypnotize us.
You guys are going to turn against Trump and his tariffs against us. Yes, we shall turn.
So let's see what this Canadian right here got to say about this, because he's furious.
Let's think about that. The Premier of Ontario, a Canadian province, literally tried to manipulate the political conversation in another country. And what happened? Exactly what any half-competent person could have predicted. It blew up in our face. Yeah. President Trump just responded calling the ad fraudulent, accusing Canada of foreign interference and terminating all trade negotiations with us. So congratulations, Doug. You just managed to make Justin Trudeau look like the responsible one.
Well, it's a crooked ad. I heard he's airing it. Canada, that's why I pulled everything. Canada, they did a crooked ad. What they did is really dishonest. And I heard they were pulling the ad. I didn't know they were putting it on a little bit more. They could have pulled it tonight. They're going to pull it Monday. Well, that's dirty playing. But I can play dirtier than they can.
So it sounds like the Canadians aren't happy with Dougie Fresh here. There you go, Dougie Mess. So Dougie Mess went ahead and thought that he could go ahead and play us. Now, he should have known how this was going to turn out. He's not messing with Joe Biden. He ain't dealing with Kamala Chameleon Harris. He should already know Trump's style by now. And I'm amazed that the prime minister did not know about this and didn't check this dude.
What are you doing? You know what? Trump already got his foot in our tail. You'll put the whole leg up our tail in a minute.
So apparently, this guy put that ad out there and he thought it was going to be effective.
And let's pause here. Why in God's name is the Premier of Ontario wading into U.S. trade politics, spending tens of millions of our dollars to do it when our hospitals are understaffed, our schools are broke, and our economy is choking on debt?
Sounds like a Democrat to me. Shenanigans. There it is. Yeah, see, apparently they're cut from the same cloth. This would be something stupid that our Democrats would do. So apparently this guy from Canada thought this would be effective. He was going to change all our minds against Trump with using Ronald Reagan.
He didn't just waste $75 million. He torched decades of trade relationships that support millions of Canadian jobs.
Yeah.
Just to make a flashy ad that Republicans were never going to listen to in the first place.
Thank you. We're nonsense-proofed. We didn't been through enough. We didn't seen the game already. See, so once your eyes are open, you see through all of that mess. You would think everybody in the country would be going, now, wait a minute. This right here is borderline some type of violation when it comes down to, interfering in other countries' affairs. You don't just run ads totally against what our government's trying to do and just want us to suck up the propaganda. So let's see the ad.
When someone says, let's impose tariffs on foreign imports,
That's right.
It looks like they're doing the patriotic thing by protecting American products and jobs. And sometimes for a short while it works, but only for a short time.
Okay.
But over the long run, such trade barriers hurt every American worker and consumer. High tariffs inevitably lead to retaliation by foreign countries and the triggering of fierce trade wars. Then the worst happens. markets shrink and collapse, businesses and industries shut down, and millions of people lose their jobs. Throughout the world, there's a growing realization that the way to prosperity for all nations is rejecting protectionist legislation and promoting fair and free competition. America's jobs and growth are at stake.
Now you see this? You see this? You see this mess? This dude got the audacity to try to run an ad that's going to make us turn sentiment away from Trump and what he's trying to do. As if we do not support the tariffs. As if we're just going to immediately say, wait a minute, I hear Ronald Reagan's voice. Oh, well, that must mean that we must listen to this. Ronald Reagan is definitely the best president. And so let's see this guy after they went ahead and stuck a mic in his big fat mouth and asked him to go ahead and respond to this.
I heard that the president heard our ad. I'm sure he wasn't too happy, but it's real because it was coming from the best president the country's ever seen, Ronald Reagan.
What? You got to... Now, see? You hear this fool? Now, apparently, this guy thinks he's a tough guy. And I'm saying, who do you think you are? Mr. Big Stuff? Who do you think you are? So now this guy's like, I heard the president, he's going to double down on it. And what he's really going to do is get Canada killed, man. He's going to get Pookie killed just like on New Jack City. Man, I got Pookie killed, man. Yep, he's about to get Pookie killed.
So it is. It's very effective.
It is.
Probably one of the best ads I've ever seen.
It didn't work. What are you talking about? You just blew all of that money and had to take it off the air. Yep, and he's talking about that. It's effective. Effective how? How could you measure that? You put this in conservative states and thought that it was going to influence us. Oh my goodness. This guy's delusional. Once again, he doesn't understand MAGA country now. See, that's his problem.
And it's coming from Ronald Reagan's voice.
It hasn't always been easy. There are those in the Congress, just as there were back in the 30s, who want to go for the quick political advantage, who risk America's prosperity for the sake of a short-term appeal to some special interest group, who forget that more than 5 million American jobs are directly tied to the foreign export business, and additional millions are tied to imports.
Now wait, we better see the part that he left out.
Well, I've never forgotten those jobs. And on trade issues, by and large, we've done well.
Uh-oh. So wait, here's the part that he cut out, though. Now, isn't that odd? Yeah, he wanted us to fall for the old okie doke, like the Democrats always do. You know, they'll show, a quick sound bite, and then you be like, wait, is that it? That's it? You gonna leave me hanging? Yeah, well, here's what Ronald Reagan also said.
Well, I've never forgotten those jobs. And on trade issues, by and large, we've done well. In certain select cases, like the Japanese semiconductors, we've taken steps to stop unfair practices against American products. But we've still maintained our basic long-term commitment to free trade and economic growth.
Well, now see? Shenanigans. He left that out. He left the part out where Reagan is saying, look, if we're getting taken advantage of, like with Japan at the time, we have to take steps to make sure we hold them accountable for the American people, just like we're doing with Canada. But that guy left that part out. See, deception. That's what that is. So here's the result.
We begin tonight with developing news and the latest volley in the trade war. The U.S. president hitting Canada with an extra 10% tariff. His response to the nation not pulling a television commercial he says is fake.
See, there it is. That's what it'll get you, see, when you act a fool. You want to come over here, meddling in our business, sticking your big fat nose, and then thump your chest. That's right, I heard the president saw my ad. And that's why you just got a whole bunch of folks in Canada, another whole 10% tariffs dropped on them. So let's go ahead and continue.
Calling it a hostile act. The increase coming as a surprise to the prime minister, according to government sources. Talk about another.
Now, see, here is an example of how unpatriotic our media is. See, this right here burns me up. Now, I put this clip in there because of this, to show you just how much they really hate Trump, thus hate America. Now, we have been influenced, or at least they attempted to influence us, another country, who Trump is in the middle of negotiating trade with for the betterment of our country. And you should be offended that Canada had the audacity to do this. But listen to what Welker has to say here.
Major trade issue, which is Canada, of course. This week, President Trump abruptly broke off trade talks with Canada and put another 10% tariff on Canada in response to an ad.
Now look at my boy over here. My boy leaning back like, man, are you kidding me? Now you can hear the disdain in her voice. Yeah, she said another 10% just because of an ad. No, it's disrespectful. It's unbelievable that this chick is trying to pretend that Trump's being petty.
That the government of Ontario ran. It features former President Ronald Reagan.
Listen to this.
Why is the president setting trade policy based on a television ad he doesn't like?
Now see, that's what it is. You're trying to make it seem like Trump is just unhinged. He's petty. You know what I'm saying? He's thin-skinned. You're just going to go ahead and try to give legitimacy to that funky behind ad that's been used to try to manipulate us. These networks suck. They're un-American, completely un-American. You don't realize the disrespect there? The insult. I mean, you want our president to just take that? You think it's okay? I mean, why don't China just start dropping ads out there? You know what I'm saying? Hamas run an ad here talking about us and, all kind of, different enemies across the country. North Korea drop a couple ads and watch the Democrats side with all of them. So instead of looking at this like, now wait a minute, I'm rooting for Trump, I'm rooting for America, I'm rooting for us to get good trade deals, I'm rooting for these people to have to come to the table in good faith. But instead, what she's doing, trying to downplay it. Why is the president they're making trade deals based off an ad? Like, that's stupid. No, it's disrespectful. And they are okay with it because, they want to see Trump fail. Watch this.
Well, Kristen, let's think about this. This is a kind of propaganda against U.S. citizens.
Just like what Kristen Welker is doing. Her whole network is about propaganda against the U.S. citizens as well. See, so this man is cool, calm, and collective like a cucumber, y'all. Hey, let's think about this for a minute. Now, this is propaganda against America, but you're okay with it, Kristen.
It's psyops. Why would the government of Ontario? I'm told that they have spent or were planning to spend up to $75 million on these ads to come across the U.S. border. So what was the purpose of that other than to sway public opinion? And it's some kind of propaganda that the premier of Ontario unilaterally launched.
1, don't you feel dumb? 2, look at you.
3, don't you ever make no jokes about me behind my back, otherwise I stomp you in the ground.
So yeah, she immediately changed the subject then because he went ahead and said it's propaganda, but you're okay with it though, right? You want Trump to just go ahead and say, well, Dad, let's let them go ahead and do whatever they want. Unbelievable, man. They are so unpatriotic, so anti-Trump and anti-America. And it's just ridiculous, man. It burns me up to even hear her say that stupid thing.
There's some kings in the building. Throw your fist at me, show some respect. There's gorillas in here, gorilla in here, gorillas in here, gorilla in here, gorillas in here.